Like a Hellcat.
That's a little bit better. It is a stunner from Fabio Quagliarella. It's off again for Jacko, who's in for Roma and scores.
Ciao ragazzi, and welcome to another edition of Serie Sitdown, World Football Index's podcast of Calcio told like it is. I'm Frank Crivello. He's Richard Garment. Ciao, Richard.
Ciao, Frank. How we doing this Tuesday night? How we doing?
Freezing my ass off.
Yeah.
It's that week we get that, that 1 week that we get out of the year, right? It always seems to happen right around this time where it's like single digits, below zero, and all that mess. And
I'm gonna blame you for our weather because we're gonna get like nonstop, like day after day of snow. So that's probably coming from your area. So I'm blaming you on this one.
well, I told them to stop, so you can't blame me. I said Richard's too fragile for all this snow. He can't handle it. You guys can send it my way all you want. I got this big ass 24-inch wide snow blower, can just push anything around. But Richard, he's not going to cope with this. And
our area does not cope with any kind of snow, even like flurries. We can't cope with it. So
I couldn't get over it because I've got family in Kentucky, and I know you know Kentucky pretty well also. And I remember going down there. This was well over 20 years ago, and my brother was in college down at Western, down in Bowling Green.
Oh yeah.
And it was January. I went down there for a weekend to go hang out, and it was like a low of like 15 degrees or something like that night. And the supermarkets were just packed, and everybody was in line like it was like the end is near or something like that. And I just couldn't get over it. And I was just like looking at everybody, and I'm like, guys, it's you're going to wake up in the morning, the high the next day was like 50, 55 or something like that. It was just, it was stunning just for one night. So
yeah, exactly.
It's all treated, but then I guess, you don't have down there, you don't have the stuff to cope with those conditions like you have up here. So
equipped drivers. Yeah.
So plows and salt,
we have them. We don't know how to use them. That's what it is.
Yeah. Salt trucks to salt the roads. Don't worry. Our guys don't know how to use them either. So, and then the fun part is all the potholes that get created, especially if you drive around in Milwaukee County. And they never fix them. They never fix them. So I'm one county over to the west, and every time I drive there, it's like what is that video game that you play where you get the cars, you got to keep swerving to avoid all the obstacles.
Oh yeah. So, I know what you're talking about.
You get what I'm saying.
I got you.
So yeah, it's like that. So yeah, so we got a kind of a week of polar vortex, and then they tell us it's going to get up in the 20s and all of this other stuff, and all will be good again. So anyway, so. And then we see the GOAT of the American version of football wins yet another Super Bowl. Who's the Tom Brady of Serie A, would you say?
Of Serie A?
Yeah.
All time?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, depends. Are you going to look at trophies, or are you looking at like goals and dominance? I mean, I want to say like Baggio, maybe off the top of my head. But, if you're looking at titles, I mean, that's hard to say. I don't know. That's a good question.
Ed Maldini has 5 European Cups.
Yep.
A handful of league titles in his collection.
Yeah.
That's a name that, but it's not as glamorous because he doesn't score. He's a defender. He doesn't score goals.
Yeah. Seedorf won with 3 teams, right?
Yeah,
that's one. 3 different teams.
Ronaldo won 5 Champions Leagues. Did he win 5? He had 1 with Man United, and I think he had 4 with Real Madrid, but he didn't win any with Juve. So we're talking about like the Tom Brady of Serie A.
If you're talking about like European football, I would say Ronaldo because he's one of the best goal scorers ever, and yada yada yada. But in terms of Serie A, he's only had like a short window there. So look at longevity and stuff like that. I mean, Totti's name's got to come up there as well. Del Piero maybe, some others. So there's a lot of guys you can mention. Giuseppe Meazza, you can go way back. It's a lot of. That's a good question. We should put that on Twitter.
Guys that played into their 40s. I mean, if you're looking at other accolades,
Zlatan.
Sure, Zlatan. I mean, you can look at the Juve teams of the 80s and Platini, Rossi, guys like that. I mean, there's a lot of names. So that's the first question. If you're listening to this podcast, go to Twitter at Serie A Sitdown. Who is your Tom Brady of Serie A, past or even present? I can't count Ronaldo in this conversation because he's only been in Serie A for 3 seasons. I want a legit Serie A guy. Okay,
longevity.
Longevity's been there, done it.
Vegan diet.
Well, I don't know about that. I wonder how he. Six-a-side Calcio in the house. Hey, good to see you, my friend. Thanks for checking in with us.
Absolutely.
He makes. I bet his burger patties are made of almonds.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe
he's like the only guy that probably eats almonds and is happy about it. Like, I like almonds, all right, but I'm not. It's not like something I look forward to eating. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So
that's good.
We should probably talk some Calcio.
Yeah. Well, there's some games that happen, right? Some with relevance too, right?
Yeah.
Especially today.
Especially today. Derby d'Italia, leg 2, as it pertains to Coppa Italia. Juve and Inter hooked up here. We thought that this game would be very, very compelling in that leg 1. Inter were without Lukaku and Hakimi. They weren't the reason why Inter lost in the first leg, but their presence were going to be very interesting. Pirlo sticks with the center back pairing of Mary Demiral and Matthias de Ligt. And I do apologize for my error when I was kind of putting in some pre-game Twitter notes. SofaScore led me astray and put Demiral on the left center, and I'm looking and I say, wait a second, that should be de Ligt, and lo and behold, the game started, and that's what it was. Having said that, de Ligt, Steve doesn't even say hi; he's just chiming in.
Love it.
So, and Uncle Sharma, Conte showing Agnelli the middle finger. The middle finger should win.
Yeah,
very nice.
Yeah, someone there.
So, but anyway. So it was curious. I thought that with the presence of Alexandro, that was obviously going to be an improvement over Frabotta in terms of dealing with Hakimi. Could de Ligt deal with Lukaku the way Chiellini did? Was going to be a big factor in this game. And the way things were situated for Juve, Richard, I thought this, if Inter are going to get into this screams for not necessarily Christian Eriksen, but this screamed for another great Nicolo Barella performance, the way the lineup shaked out.
Yeah, and I know a lot of Interisi like the lineup, midfield, I should say, of Eriksen, Brozovic, and Barella, even your Uncle Sharma here in the chat as well. And that, those 3 together are always going to pose a danger for the opposition. And, we thought maybe Barella would have another opportunity to have a man-of-the-match performance and really take over this game. Obviously, Brozovic, tends to show up in these big games, more so against Milan, it seems like, than anything else. But and then Eriksen, getting his back of confidence back after that brilliant goal in the derby against Milan. So there was a chance there. Obviously, having Hakimi back and Lukaku, would pose a difficulty for that back line. Yours truly mentioned last podcast that if anyone was going to try to guard Lukaku, it had to be de Ligt. De Ligt's the only one physicality wise that can line up with him. He has got the pace. He's a big game player. And it kind of showed in this game, right? But, in terms of the Inter lineup, I'm there with you. Barella all the way would have been my guy who I thought would have been the catalyst for everything. And then everybody else around them, the supporting cast to kind of chime in and help lead the team possibly to a surprise win, I guess, at the J.
And he was decent, not spectacular.
Yeah.
I think is probably the way I would grade out Barella. And, over the course of these 90 minutes, it was just, and the reason why I said I thought the space would be there for him, because I think it would be fascinating. You're going to have de Ligt occupying occupied by Lukaku. You're going to have Demiral occupied by Lautaro. Yeah. Sandro's help is going to come in the form of probably Rabiot. And then you have Bentancur, who probably has to kind of shadow where Eriksen's going. So that's where I thought, okay, this screams for Barella to have a big game if he can step up and do it. But as this happened, it was almost like Danilo and Demiral were kind of trading off on Lautaro almost, and Cuadrado was dropping back, and they were in that 3-man defense that you typically see with Juventus. And then you see, Bentancur and Rabiot working in the midfield. And then at a certain point, Pirlo pulls the plug on Bernardeschi and gets McKennie in there to further plug things up in the midfield as Inter need to continue to go for it. So I thought that Pirlo had the game plan nailed, and I think every single substitution he made was spot on.
It was a very Max Allegri type performance, wasn't it? By Pirlo. Yep. Pirlo is getting better and better by the game. He's starting to figure it out and figure out what his team is all about and what's the right call to make in each game, whether it's with the lineup, whether it's the tactics they use. I mean, I thought Rabiot was pretty good in this game as well. And then obviously with the substitutions, they brought Chiellini in late as well to try to add that extra oomph in the defensive aspect. So Pirlo, I thought did a really good job in this one. Really. Inter did have plenty of opportunities, but the way they were set up defensively, the shifts that they did, the marking, just brilliant marking by some of the players like De Ligt and Demiral and Danilo and some of these other guys. It was just really great team effort defensively. I mean, Inter did try to have some opportunities, but other than a few here and there, really it was the most dangerous opportunities probably came from Ronaldo, I would say, in this game. So it's really, really well done job by Pirlo to out manage Conte in this one in terms of tactics. So kudos to him, man. Very well done.
Ronaldo had 3 great chances to put this tie away towards the end of the first half in the space of 2 minutes, all of them blocked. One by De Vrij, then by Handanovic, and then by Bastoni. So he certainly provided the threat going the other way. So I in that vein, I think that Ronaldo's presence on the break was something that Inter had to be wary of, and overall dealt with it well. On another day, Ronaldo scores at least one of those opportunities, and
he was good. Ronaldo was good. I mean, the dribble, he was very good. He created some great opportunities against Skriniar and some other guys. So he was good, and Inter still did very well against him. Uncle Sharma saying, Pirlo's catenaccio made things very difficult. He did. I think the way they lined up defensively, the way they addressed some of the strengths of Inter really stifled them, and I think it made it extremely difficult for Inter to do anything difficult against Buffon. So,
for me, Danilo was the best player on the pitch. Okay. In the first half, I just felt like he was everywhere and in a good way. Key interceptions, blocking things out, supporting other defenders, and then finding some opportunities to go forward. It wasn't great when he got forward in the attack, but he didn't hurt, and he didn't hurt his team when he was in possession of the ball. Only gave it away 8 times. But 3 interceptions, a tackle, a blocked shot, some clearances. I mean, he was very, very active, in a role where you've got De Ligt dealing with Lukaku, Demiral dealing with Lautaro. Danilo's got to be in a supporting role, and I thought that he carried out his role extremely well. For me, I thought he was the best player in this game.
Yeah, I won't argue with that. I think Danilo did have a really good game. Rabiot gets a shout, I think. Ronaldo as well for being able to when they had the ball to do something to make Inter work defensively, and also De Ligt obviously gets a big shout as well for the job he did on Lukaku. So I'm not going to fight you on Danilo. I think it was a good performance by him, and overall by Juventus. They deserve to win to move on into the finals. They were the best team over the 2 legs. Obviously, the 2 goals in the first leg by Ronaldo, and then Inter's going to rue the mistakes they made. They left out there in leg 1 because Juve really closed up shop in that second leg. And it was a vintage defensive performance by Juventus, but from a new manager. And it's something we're not used to seeing. We've seen it as of late, and it's giving you signs that something's they're going to start taking off here in Serie A. But in terms of this game, very, very well done by the whole team.
Sure. I mean, and you could name any one of those in the back 4 as man of the match. Really. But for me, I think, some of the extra things that Danilo did stood out for me. Lautaro Martinez, worst player today. So
not going to argue that either.
No, not going to argue that. He's, he's got to get consistent, really. I mean, he's capable. He's just got to get consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not like Inter didn't try. They had 21 shots. The problem is that Juve knew when the shots were coming. They knew where they were coming. Buffon had this team organized from his position. I don't think he was even troubled with the chances that they had.
No.
You know, Steve's asking, is it confidence with Martinez? I think there are just going to be some guys. I'm reminded, you know, of Andy Cole back in the day. You know, a little bit with Manchester United, but with Newcastle before that, I felt like he was a guy that needed 12 to 15 shots in a game for one to go in, you know?
Yeah.
It's just one of those where I don't know if it's a confidence issue. I just think it's a clinical finishing issue. I think it's a desire to be, you know, not necessarily a desire. I shouldn't say that, but a mentality to be ruthless, to be a finisher rather than a shooter. I think when you see some of these misses that Lautaro has, I don't feel like he's slowing down any of his decisions. He's not taking any extra touches, but he's also not necessarily rushing things. I think he just hits the ball, and I don't think he gets himself in those situations. For me, it's not the issue is that he's got to just have the mentality of being a finisher and not necessarily just a guy that's going to shoot for the sake of shooting. And that's what I'm seeing with Lautaro Martinez and some of these misses. What do you think? I'm
going to use the old hockey analogy. Maybe Steve gets this, is that he's holding his stick too tightly, right? He's not rushing the shots per se, but he's trying too hard to do something brilliant. The one opportunity that really fell to him in this game was off of some rebound. He has a chance to volley it, and instead of shooting it at Buffon, making the save, he shoots it well wide and nearly goes in the corner. I mean, that's opportunities like that come few and far between in the big matchups, and you need to be clinical. And I think in this instance, he's holding the stick too tight, as they're saying, trying to do too much when he gets those opportunities. Instead of letting it come to him and try to just go with it, he's trying to force it and not rushing it, but he's overthinking it maybe, trying to be ESPN top highlight goal or something, and it just never works. And maybe that's his problem, why he's got to take so many shots to finish it off. He's the old Fulton Reed, right? 1 goal every 10 shots. So, I don't know what it is with him. He definitely needs to work on his shooting game if that's what it is, because, in this league and when you can play up against the best teams in the world, you don't get many opportunities, and you need to finish those opportunities. The best strikers in the world are the ones who can have 2-3 opportunities and put them away. Look at Ronaldo across the pitch. He would do that. So he needs to get better on that respect.
Okay, 4 shots in this cup game against Juventus. 7 against Roma. Okay, 3 against Roma with 2 on target. The cup game against Fiorentina that he was in, let's take a look and see what he did there. In 69 minutes, 4 shots in that game, 1 big chance missed. So this is 4 games now where he has got 4, 7, 14, 18 shots over those 4 games without scoring. Okay. At some point, you got to learn how to be a finisher in those situations. You've got to understand how to finish half chances. I like the hockey analogy as well. I thought that was clever on your part. But that's what it is right now. I mean, it's the difference between a guy who's just shooting and a guy who's just finishing for me. Uncle Sharma, everybody can score a lot of goals against Crotone, okay? The way they defend. I made the comment after watching them on Sunday. I said, as happy as I was that Milan came out with a 4-0 win, I think Crotone is just so awful defensively. Yeah. You can't not finish against them. I mean, if he didn't score against Crotone, then there's definitely a problem.
And to his credit, he is very streaky. Arturo is because we've seen him at times where he's just been lights out and scoring goals galore. But this season, it seems he's more streaky than not. And when he does get him, he'll get him in bunches, like I said, against Crotone, getting the hat trick. But for the most part, it's like long cold streaks, long hot streaks, or some hot streaks, and it's not as consistent as you would want in a top striker. So
if he can just adjust the mentality, you're talking about a guy that can, with the chances that he's given week in and week out playing in this Inter team, you're talking about a guy that could brace regularly. Yeah. It's just a matter of right now he's just not. Right now, it's just not happening. And,
he could be a top striker. If
yeah.
he was better, he could be a top striker.
But I don't look at him rushing shots, and I don't look at him slowing things down. I just look at him shooting.
Yeah,
and that's just kind of what I see with.
It's like closing his eyes and taking the shot, right?
Yeah, like just praying when it leaves his foot.
Yeah,
that this time it's going to happen. So, so that we'll have to see. I think other comments here from this game. I think, as it pertains to Juve, we had glowing comments about them. This is the Juve that we were starting to see that just get the result, get through. That was eventually going to come around under Andrea Pirlo. We're starting to see that more consistently with them, but this really makes you worry about Inter. Results like this. Now, they did win at Fiorentina 2-0 on Friday. Yeah, Steve, I'd love to, as a Milan fan, I'd love to see him be cold on the 20, until after the 21st as well. But I think this also speaks to, this is why I can't take Inter seriously as a Scudetto contender. And I know that where they are on the table, and I know that they're very high up in the standings, but when it comes down to crunch time in critical games and in critical moments, they still can't get it done.
Yeah.
It took, and let's think about me against 10-man Milan in the Coppa Italia. Let's remember, it took a stoppage time free kick, a wonder goal by Christian Eriksen for them to get through there. All right, and here they blunder their way through the first leg, and then they can't do anything that puts Juventus off kilter and puts them in any real danger, over the course of the second leg. And these are the elements that, I know how many points they have right now. I know where they sit at the table. But stuff like this, drawing at Udinese, losing at Sampdoria, these are prime examples of why I can't take Inter seriously as a title contender. It has nothing to do with who I support. But I'm given enough sample here on the pitch that I can't take them seriously.
This is what makes the derby this weekend coming up, or the 21st, whatever, so big, because I think we'll learn a lot about Inter, well, both teams really, but I think this game is so big too because Juve is lying in the wait they're waiting for a draw. If one of these teams, one of the two Milan teams, need to win the derby, because if they draw, Juve is going to be right there for the taking, because they're playing so well at the moment. Obviously, with what they've done here in the last week or so, to show that they're looking like they're getting into prime shape here. So. It's going to be interesting derby. We'll really learn a lot about Inter, I should say, and Milan in this one, because it is a lot on the table. We're in the second half already. 1 versus 2. Obviously, Milan is the center of Italy at the moment. But what kind of performance are we going to see from Conte's team? What are we going to see from Piola's team? That'll be a fun must-see TV. And Juve is going to be just chomping at the bit, hoping someone makes a mistake.
Do you back them to regroup though and beat Lazio on Sunday?
Who, Inter?
Yeah, with the run that they're on. With the run that Lazio's on.
Yeah. So Lazio, Immobile, is anything he touches is going in. See, this is the opposite of L'Arturo, right? Immobile, anything he shoots goes in the net. L'Arturo, it's just 1 in 10 or whatever. It's going to be difficult. You got to like Lazio's chances in this game because of the form they're in. They have all of a sudden the last couple of years, at least with Juve and some other teams, the innate ability to play up to their opponent and then beat them when many people don't expect them to. I do expect a stronger Inter in this one. I do. In the league, they have been better than they had been in the Coppa Italia. So I do believe it'll be I'm going to go with a draw in that game, but I think it's going to be difficult because Lazio are in really good shape at the moment. Inzaghi is pulling all the right strings, and Immobile, everything is gold when he touches his foot. So it'll be a good game. Everything a score draw, I think, in that one.
Yeah, I have yet to decide what I think is going to happen with that game, but and then Juve traveled to Napoli on Saturday. So
big game.
They got to suddenly pick themselves up and get back on track. But
so who's this a bigger game for in that game? Because obviously Juve are trying to get to the Scudetto now, or top of the table, but Napoli can't afford another loss. Gattuso can't afford another loss. After that performance against Genoa, which we'll get to, it's getting really, hot seat for him. Wouldn't think so with what he's done over there, but losing is not really an option at the moment when you're trying to become your Champions League team, and Napoli and Gattuso are just struggling at the moment.
It's a much more critical game for Napoli. But at the same time, it's still a critical game for Juve because I don't think they want to drop any more points. They do have the game in hand, which happens to be when they have to play Napoli at the J. But it's, I think it's definitely more critical for Napoli in terms of their top 4 prospects. Allegri to Napoli coming soon? Possibly. Very possible. I wouldn't rule it out. Yeah. Now Inter only have one competition to think about until the end of the season. That's fine, Steve, but what in their mentality and in tight situations when it's on the line makes you think that Inter are going to go and break through? Because it hasn't happened yet. I mean, they got a bigger gimme for a Champions League group this year than they've had the last 2 years, and they finished 4th. All right. They had, over the course of 2 legs, they had many more chances than Juventus had and only got 1 goal out of it. Okay. So when it really tightens up, I'm still not trusting this Inter team yet. Okay. Fantastic when they get to play the teams that they get to beat up. I mean, 4-0 against Benevento. When they're on their game, they're brilliant to watch. When it's Hakimi darting down the flank and it's Lukaku scoring goals, it's Conte's hair. It might be, but Spalletti was bald and they still had the same problems.
So not to deep dive in Inter or anything, but who is more to blame? Is it the team for not performing and getting those goals, or is it Conte for not doing the right tactics to get his team set up for success? Conte obviously has a history of doing well in these types of situations, but at the moment, what he's dealing with in Serie with a hot Milan, a Juventus on the surge, he's not pushing the right buttons at the moment, especially when we go to Champions League. A lot was expected of Inter over during his reign, and they haven't performed. Is he more to blame, or are the guys on the pitch?
I mean, in the case of Conte, he's gonna play one way. He's gonna play one system. He's gonna play one system, and the tactics will be flexible based on what they're up against, based on what the game demands of them. Okay, it's up to the players then ultimately to execute those, right? Yeah. So, in the case of Juventus, it was very easy for Juventus to know what was coming in the second leg, and they played accordingly. That's where the adjustments have to happen in some way, shape, or form.
It's not quite to the Barcelona level back from a few years ago where they only had a plan A and did not have a plan B. So teams like Roma and all these teams, they stopped at plan A and then they're twiddling their thumbs, not knowing what to do. It's not quite that level yet with Inter, but Conte needs to do a better job adjusting in game when teams like Juventus stack up against what they're going to do, and then what are you going to do next?
I'll say this as far as this game is concerned. This game, I think that Inter missed having an Alexis Sanchez to call on, who brings something completely different from what Lautaro Martinez does. He's a lot more creative. He comes back deeper for the ball. It allows other players to get in front. It mixes it up a little bit, and that could probably move Juve around a little. But when you got Lautaro who does the same things and you know what's coming, and Lukaku does the same things, and they're going to just play high, and they're going to get balls up against the defenders and things like that, it's a lot easier to prepare for. Yeah. Alexis gives them a lot of mobility, and that lack of mobility in the attacking area, that lack of that guy that can just run around off of Lukaku, I think Inter could have used. Yeah. And I think that was another thing that they were definitely missing in this game. They should have done the Dzeko for Sanchez swap. Roma would have got away with highway robbery if that deal happened. I've said that many, many times. David Guarascio, ciao, good to see you. Yeah. There's something about that Juve that doesn't convince you, Steve. Well, I just see they're stringing together results, and I've seen a Juve find ways to win over consistent and consecutive matches to where all of a sudden you blink and they're 6 points ahead of everybody at the table. Okay. So, and I think they're in the middle of one of those runs right now. So it's just the way they do it. And Juve don't really dominate anybody. And in the Allegri years, did they ever go out and win 5 or 6-0? No, 2, And that's good for them. Saudi tried to be, Saudi wanted to do that, but realized that that's not the mentality of this team. They're going to be resourceful. They want to be resourceful. We talk about resourceful Juve, and they go and they do it.
Yeah.
So,
with Juve, I think defensively they're finding their stride. Right. They've took on two big time teams in the last week, and they've shut them down.
Yep.
So I have confidence in their defense at the moment. No matter.
I don't want to catch up. Roma's not a big time team. Roma can't beat Roma, they can't beat anybody in the top six.
That's fair.
When they got to play somebody good, they just shrivel up and they're like I don't want to say it. My kids might listen.
It's not because I'm wearing a Roma shirt at the moment, okay?
Yeah.
No, they were third in the table. So because of that, I say they're a big time. They're not a legit big time team. They were third in the table. It was a lot on stake. And Roma has a good midfield, and they have been playing well, but they're not elite. Yeah, I agree with that. I think I have full confidence in Juventus' defense at the moment. Whether it's De Ligt and Demirel, Chiellini and Bonucci, or whomever's in there, I think their defense is coming around the corner and they're hitting their stride. Yeah. Offensively is the question. You can't have Ronaldo carry the whole time. He is great. He's going to step up in the big games, but you need other people to score. Kulusevski. One of the midfielders that they have, Morata has been obviously scoring goals as well, and that's where the question is there, can their offense do enough to get them the wins? Because defense is going to shut people out now. It looks like what does their offense have enough? They're going to be resourceful, yeah, but you can't rely on Ronaldo solely. They need to have someone else step up in some of these games as well. So that's just my take on that, on Juventus.
Yeah, no, they just. They're all telling me to say it now. I am so tempted to leave them into suspense. My kids listen to this. Oh my! You want me to say it too, don't you?
A little bit.
All right. It's like my nuts on a cold day. They just go up and hide in my stomach.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same thing with Roma whenever they got to play anybody good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a stand-up comedian once that said the balls are the smartest part of a man. If it's cold out or if there's a fight, they're the first ones out.
Yep. That's Roma. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid to admit it.
Oh,
those things are running and hiding.
We've gone off.
I knew Chat, fuck you. All right. You knew it was coming. Oh, gosh. I win Calcio Twitter. That's it.
Dang it.
So, I didn't put it on Twitter. Anyway. So, all right. Well, we'll have to figure out how I mute that when the kids are listening.
There you go. There you go. Just skip through the Juve talk,
Well, that's what my son's a Juve fan, remember.
Just tell him we didn't talk about Juve this time. That's all.
Yeah.
It's all intern Milan there. That's all we talked about.
Yeah. Atalanta Napoli tomorrow, leg 2. First one finished 0-0. Atalanta I think Gozens has been back. But Pessina, Ilicic. I mean, just taking a look at the projected lineups, they think Napoli will start. This is SofaScore doing this. They think Petagna will start. But by the way, I don't think I've said anything that juvenile in like 10 years. So that took something for me to say. On air, yeah. Anyway, so I mean, do you see Napoli punting this? I mean, Gattuso wants to try to win everything in sight, and I understand that and respect him for it. But if you're still trying to get a top 4 finish out of this, your job's on the line. This game's almost kind of an inconvenience to have to play.
Yeah.
With Juve on the horizon. That said, I mean, these are two teams that neither are really inspiring confidence. I think Atalanta have shown flashes, it have been really, really good. But the way Napoli, it's, and I don't know if Gattuso wants to get into a dogfight over 120 minutes and go to penalties at the same time with Juve coming up on Saturday, Steve, you say that every five. Steve, you say those things every 5 minutes on
with
your
no
pod.
shirt on, but no, with no shirt on.
And with no shirt on. So.
I think Napoli's best opportunity to get any kind of silverware this year is going to be Coppa Italia. And I don't see De Laurentiis, wanting to give that up, without a fight. It's going to be difficult, and their main goal should be, trying to reach Champions League. But I don't see, if they punted this, I can see De Laurentiis saying, that's it, I'm done. You didn't give a fight, especially to get clobbered. It's going to be a difficult match because it's Napoli are not in the right form at the moment. Atalanta are not Atalanta that we've seen from the past, but they have the flashes, like you mentioned. Ilicic is certainly back. Melanovsky had some great moves in the game against Torino. Muriel is wonderful player there. So it's going to be difficult for them, and they did a brilliant job in the first leg to kind of stifle that Atalanta attack. They're going to have to do that again. I agree with David, where they might just have to stifle them to make it 0-0, go to penalties, and hope for the best. They have the talent to make it a good game, but nothing in the last month has indicated that they're going to play well. And it could happen. You never know. It's calcio. You have to line up and play. But you would have to expect a masterful tactician performance from Gattuso for Napoli to come out of this one based on the current form of both these clubs. So, sure.
So I'm going to narrowly tip Atalanta to do this and go through, and I think it's going to be something like a 2-1. And I think it'll be a confidence builder for Atalanta before they venture into Champions League and play Real Madrid. It'll validate somewhat Atalanta trying to move in the right direction, after Papu Gomez, which is a discussion I'm sure we're going to get into tonight. I'm going to go with, but I on the same time, at the same time, I see Gattuso maybe having a pride in this competition because they won it last season, trying to defend it and go back to back too. So there's that motivation. I mean, if Napoli can score first in this game, it gets really interesting because they'll have the away goal. So we'll see. I'm gonna give it to Atalanta narrowly, and I think we're gonna see a Juve-Atalanta final.
David brings up a good point that if Napoli do win, you possibly could see close to a back-to-back Juve-Napoli type situation there, which would be a very, very interesting here if that were to happen, especially with those two lately. Sorry, I'm just looking at some of Sevilla's scores here from this past weekend. Obviously, Papu Gomez getting
Papu scored a screamer.
Yeah,
his first Sevilla goal. Yeah.
Anyway, so in this game, you got Atalanta narrowly going through. That's a difficult one. I feel for Gattuso, and I want to pull for him and say, they're going to figure some way to stifle Atalanta and get the late goal through Insigne or something like that. But, man, I don't know. I think screw it. I'm going to say Napoli win narrowly, surprising everybody.
Okay. The grinta of Gattuso.
There you go. Screw it.
Keep Gasparini from dancing another round. So
just for Stevie. There you go.
All right. So you think Juve Napoli, I think Juve Atalanta. So we will see what happens. But it has been a pretty enthralling Coppa Italia, to say the least. Let's move on now to what went on in match week 21. Richard, you do the honors of the first 5 games.
Alrighty, starting off the games, we had Fiorentina hosting Internazionale. Goal scoring started with a goal of the week candidate. Obviously, the first goal of the week has to be the goal of the week candidate. One of the best goals of the weekend, right? Nicolo Barella from distance, a wonderful curling shot. 1-0 Inter going into the break. Coming out, wonderful pass by Hakimi just with his lightning pace. He finds Perisic backdoor in the 52nd minute. 2-0 Inter win on the road. One of the most entertaining games from a neutral standpoint. Atalanta hosting Torino. If you like goals, there were plenty of them in this game, and a lot of them in the first half. Goal scoring started in the 14th minute. Ilicic would get the goal, make it 1-0 Atalanta. 5 minutes after that, Gosens, a wonderful play, team play by Atalanta to make it 2-0. Gosens gets the goal. And then 2 minutes after that, so in the first 20 minutes, 3-0. Muriel gets the goal. Looks like Atalanta are just going to blow away Torino. But Torino keep fighting back, and Atalanta they play no defense. 42nd minute, Belotti misses a penalty kick, but he follows up with a brilliant finish to make it 3-1. Just 1 minute into stoppage time, Bremer gets a goal to pull it back 3-2, And then in the 84th minute, to add insult to injury, Bonazzoli completes the comeback. 3-3 Atalanta Torino tie. No dancing for Gasperini in this one. Moving on, Sassuolo hosting Spezia, and it looked like Sassuolo maybe get off to a hot start. Ciccio Caputo gets a goal in the 25th minute, 1-0 Sassuolo. Things are looking good, but those beautiful blue jerseys by Spezia come back in a vengeance. In the 39th minute, Erlich would make it 1-1, and then in the 78th minute, Gyasi would get the game winner, 2-1 Spezia win on the road. One of the games of the weekend in terms of what was at stake, 3 versus 4, Juventus hosting Roma. Roma again with Juventus with a defensive clinic in this one, really shutting down Roma. And as to your point, Roma their balls just hit up in their stomach and they didn't do anything. First goal, Ronaldo in the 13th minute to make it 1-0. And then in the 69th, Ibanez and own goal, Kulusevski with the play there. 2-0 Juve win, dominate Roma in that one. And then wrapping up my slate of games, one of the surprises of the weekend, Genoa hosting Napoli. 97-year-old Goran Pandev scores in the 11th minute, makes it 1-0. And then a goal of the week candidate in the 26th minute. Beautiful pirouette to get the 2-0 lead there. No celebrations on either goal. Politano would peg one back in the 79th minute, but Genoa would get a shock win. Ballardini does it again, 2-1. Gattuso's seat is on fire, Frank. That is my first 5 games of the weekend.
How nice of them to, one Friday and 4 Saturdays, so we got a nice even split, and then I can do all the Sunday games. So Serie has been very considerate lately, which we appreciate. Napoli. I mean, it's not for want of trying. 26 shots, 9 on target, so a great performance from Petty, and he had 8 saves.
Yeah.
But that's vintage classic Ballardini Genoa. You get the ball and you get it a lot, and you get to cross it a lot, and you get to shoot a lot. But if you slip up, if you get caught, if you get just unbalanced enough and the pass goes the wrong way or it's under hit or something like that, they are going the other way. And they will seize the very limited chances that they had. Their only 2 shots on target were goals. So harsh on Ospina to get negative ratings when those are the only 2 shots that he was tested on. And in both situations, there's not much he's going to do about either. That's got to be better defending in both of those situations. So when I look at Napoli, I mean, it's just, and when they had this crisis, 13, 14 months ago when Gattuso got started, what did we say about just score goals now? Yeah. You got everything else figured out. Just score goals. So, Ziyech with a nice pass, Goran Pandev a nice turn on that second goal to ice it for them. But
I wonder if Arturo was paying attention. 2 shots, 2 goals there for Pandev. Not 15 shots and 1 goal if you're lucky. So efficiency.
Yep. Roma put in a situation. Roma outshot Juve 14-3. Yeah. It's not like and then they had a little bit more possession. Yeah. They carved out some things. They are better with that combination of Mkhitaryan and Mayoral. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. But this stigma of beating the big ones around you is still not there for them. And then making enough mistakes and and that sort of thing to get beaten. Ronaldo had a ton of space on his goal, but he had to pick it out. He had work to do on it. It was a good goal. Just looking at that, I think that Roma are in the right direction of what they want to do and what they need to do. They need to figure out how to beat these top teams. Their place in the top 4 depends on that, because right now they might be sitting 3rd or 4th or wherever they're at. And I think they're 4th. Okay.
We had a similar discussion about Lazio probably 2 years ago, and then last year they kind of figured it out, right? Right. They had this mental block in their head against the top 6 and couldn't figure out a way to do it. And then all you got to do is find a way to beat somebody and then start getting the confidence going. Lazio did that with Juventus, and then they started building off of that. And now they look pretty good against all the top 6. Roma are in the same situation. They just need to find a way to win. It's going to be hard because it's a big mental gap at this moment, and Roma just obviously closed up shop. They had the opportunities, like you said, but I think Juventus had them where they wanted. There was nothing really scaring them at the moment at that game. So They just got to find some ways to do it. And if Dzeko's not the way to do it, obviously Mayoral is going to be the one who is the way probably to lead them going in the future. But yeah, they need to figure. Paulo Fonseca and Roma in general just got to clamp down and tighten up in these games. I don't know.
Should we be a little more critical about Sassuolo?
Yeah.
5 straight without a win. 5 straight in league without a win, and then they also went out in the cup to Spal.
Who do you think they're, Cagliari?
And they're not creating the chances. Now, they didn't have Berardi in this game. Well, he came on as a substitute. So for some reason, De Zerbi decided Berardi shouldn't start in this game. I don't know if he thought that he could beat them with what he played. And he went with Traore, Juricic, and Boga behind Caputo, which you still should be able to get it done. But Berardi's your guy. And he's your best player, and you need points. You know, and what else are you in that he has to sit?
Yeah.
So I think that was a fundamental flaw on the part of De Zerbi, and that's where I say managers are stupid because they overthink these things. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, right now, if I'm only playing once a week, Domenico Berardi is starting and playing as many minutes as he can possibly play. All right. So I think that was a fundamental thing, and it looks like that changed. Berardi came on. When did he come on? He came on after 64 minutes when it was 1-1. Okay, so then it was Giassi who scored. And I like Spezia. I like the way they play. I think they're going to give Milan some – I think Milan are going to win the game. Steve, don't get a heart attack. But I think that Spezia give people problems. I mean, the way they attack, some of the pieces that they have in place Giassi's been relatively impressive. Verdi's a bit of a set-piece specialist when the opportunities are there for him. Yeah, it might have been Berardi coming back from an injury, but I don't – if he's fit, put him in. Okay.
Sassuolo has been too poor over the last month, 2 months. It's not what play we've been accustomed to at the start of the season where it's been so open, attractive, and goal-scoring and getting results.
Only 8 shots against Spezia.
Yeah.
You would expect – them to have at least 15.
Yeah, it's not the same offense that we've seen. It's something that they're tweaking something to try to overcome the poor defense or something, and it's not working out offensively. And Caputo, it's nice to see him score and all, but there's not the same attractive team that we've seen at the start of the season. And we saw this maybe similar thing with Cagliari last season where they started out super hot. We thought we knew them, and then all of a sudden they dropped the bottom and they're still sinking as we're speaking. Sorry, George, if you're listening, but yeah, it's scratching my head with Sassuolo. I don't know. It's confusing.
Yep. Atalanta, Torino. I went back and forth, resting Berardi for the big match against Crotone this weekend. Sure. I went back and forth with Jerry on this. Jerry thought that Atalanta missed Papu Gomez.
Yeah, I heard that conversation.
Do you agree with that?
No.
I don't either. Papu Gomez. First of all, Papu Gomez doesn't defend. Okay, and second of all, you have players there that can very easily do what they're at. They don't have to dictate the tempo, but they have to they have to be able to keep the ball.
Look at Gosens. Look at Gosens' goal. Malinovsky makes a brilliant move. That, this Papu-esque, you could say. At midfield, he kind of starts that opening, gives it to Muriel at the left, and Muriel finds that cross pitch pass to Gosens on the back door. They got the players, like to what your point is. They have guys that can step up and do it. Yeah, Papu Gomez is a brilliant player, MVP last year, but Ilicic is back to form, it looks like, and Muriel's getting more pitch time now, and I think they got plenty of pieces there. They just plug and play and keep going. Papu Gomez, the person they're going to miss. The fans are going to miss him for sure, but it's just it's next man up. And, Malinovsky looks like he's ready to take those reins and get more of that pitch time and get some of that credit that we think he's going to get here because he plays some good football. So, I don't think they're going to miss Papu. We've been saying it probably for the last month or so at least, before he got moved. And no knock on Papu Gomez. We love him. I love him. But Atalanta, their system, it's conducive to putting another player that is creative and giving an opportunity to flourish. This is what Gasperini does. He lets them take their opportunities and go with it. And I think that's what you're going to see. So,
the issue here with Atalanta, Okay.
3 goals in 20 minutes. I mean, you don't need Papu, right? It's a defense, like you said.
But here's the funny part. I mean, Torino carried on playing the same way, even falling behind 3-0 early in the first 21 minutes. Atalanta still dominated the possession. But like all 4 of Atalanta's shots on target came in the first half. They didn't get a single shot on target in the second half. So Torino organized, defended, and then they just hit on the break and they seized their opportunities going forward, going the other way. So Atalanta shit the bed. Yes, that's absolutely true. But they didn't do it because Papu Gomez wasn't there anymore. Because they've won many, many games here over the last couple of months without Papu Gomez in the lineup. And it doesn't get different just because he's not in the dressing room. Okay. So, and it's like to the point here, Malinovsky is a good playmaker. Miranchuk is a guy that, and we talked about this last week, this is classic guy that's just going to need this season to adapt. And then next season is when he's going to be expected to be ready to step forward. So, but where there was a lack of balance for this Atalanta team also was in the center of that midfield. You have Matteo Pessina playing alongside Martin Darun. Pessina doesn't play that role. No. Okay, he plays further up. So, and Freuler wasn't even used in this game. So I don't know what Gasparini saw. I don't know he decided to bring on Jimshiti for Ruggeri, which, okay, now you have 4 center backs in there who are all stuck in the mud. And he did this last week too, where he brings on another center. He's got 4 center backs out there who can't run. Okay.
I don't know if you said this on purpose, but you said Jim Shitty, and I think that's the way he plays. Yes, that's correct.
Freudian slip, but it's not that far off.
Yeah.
Jim City comes in for Ruggeri because they got a shortage of wingbacks, so they're going to put in 4 center backs that can't run. Oh, you got Andrea Bellotti running at you. You've got Simone Zaza, and let me tell you, Sasa Lukic when he comes forward is got some pace. All right.
Mandragora is a good player. They got him recently. So
single bombing forward, and you're going to counter by having 4 guys who can get stuck in the mud pretty easily. I would have thought 3-0 up. You go into halftime. My first substitution at 46 minutes is that okay? Good game, Pessina. I'm going to put in a true midfielder, and Freuler goes in, and I get that continuity with those 2 center midfielders that can protect that 3-man defense. So I mean, there's a lot of just flaws here that Gasparini is making. And I understand he's missing some pieces right now, but there are some things that when you take a look at these games, there are some decisions that he's making that are maddening that have absolutely nothing to do whether or not Papu Gomez is on the pitch.
Yeah. I know, I agree 100%. Can I take this moment to, and maybe I'm the only one here in chat, please let me know if I'm not the only one, but can we take a moment and appreciate Singo? What a player he is.
I like him.
He scored that goal. He did the outside of the foot curler. I mean, the beautiful curl was outside of his foot. And if he scored that would have been goal of the week. But he is a good player for them. I mean, he has been since he started playing with Torino. And I really like this guy a lot. And I mean, it shows you that technical ability he has when he with that outside of foot shot that nearly went in, head off the crossbar. So this is my little appreciation, not tweet, but voice on him. So
we've been on him for a while. So definitely, Mr. Power, ciao. Congratulations on reaching the Coppa Italia final. So Fiorentina Inter, this is, Barella set the tone with his goal. I actually gave Fiorentina a chance to win this game on Friday because this felt like a typical trap game for Inter where they just came off of playing Juve and have to play him again. And if you look at the balance of this game, Fiorentina had a ton of chances. Yep. Bonaventura played like this was his own personal derby. I thought he in particular was really good in this game. Yeah. Just the support around him wasn't there. Biraghi played all right. Defensively was a bit liable. And did that turn up? Did he come out? Yeah, that turned up actually on the second goal. When Hakimi got past him pretty easy. Yeah. So, but it's an Inter win, but it's a Fiorentina that I think is. Oh, Presidente's in the house. He only arrives when we've got love for Jack.
Yeah, yeah.
Only when we have love for Jack.
His ears were burning.
He wasn't even listening. Here's the thing about Presidente. He wasn't even listening to us. He didn't even have the YouTube channel on. We just start talking about Bonaventura, and it's like his radar goes off, and here he is. That's impressive, Presidente. Ciao.
Yeah.
Salute. All right. Under Prandelli, I think it's not turning up as much in the results, but I see a gradual improvement with La Viola.
It's slow but steady, right? It's slow but steady. It did take a while at the beginning. It looked like they were spinning their wheels and nothing much was changing at the very beginning. But there has been improvement over the last couple of weeks. I think it's starting to get there. I don't still believe that he's the right manager for them, but I understand why they hired him and everything and that like that. But it's starting to come around, and it's a good sign. I mean, they're not in a threat where they're going to be a relegator or anything like that. You still want to see them perform. If you had to pick a team that's underachieved historically over the last 10 years, this is the team. This is probably not even their in terms of the lineup. This is not even anywhere close to being one of the best lineups, but they're finally starting to get things going right now, and it's good to see. A lot of people are still hoping for, except for maybe Juventini, maybe like Colin in the chat, but a lot of people want to see Viola get back and play some good football, be in the top 10 again. But there's still a long way from that, but they're getting there. Baby steps.
He's asking about the spat between Agnelli and Conte. Conte said Conte did the year number one.
yeah. No love lost. I guess he doesn't miss Juve, huh?
I actually turned it off after the final whistle, so I missed it.
Uncle Sharma voted it for Who on Couch on Twitter with the middle finger to Agnelli.
Some bridges just remain burnt, I guess is probably the best way you can put that. I think that with Fiorentina, no, David, I don't think De Rossi will go to Fiorentina. I think Fiorentina sticks this out with Prandelli because I think Fiorentina is a situation that was going to need to get worse before it got better. And I think right now it's all about damage control and getting stability, having some consistency with who you can trust. And now I think as the season goes on, Fiorentina, I don't think they'll work their way into the top half or anything like that, but they're going to be a nuisance team for people going forward.
Yeah, that's a fair shout. I mean, because right now they're sitting at 15th place on 22 points. So yeah, they're safe from going down, but they're nowhere near top 10 shape. Even though they're like 5 points off, because some of those teams aren't in the top 10. Minus Sampdoria, they're playing really well. But they are going to be a pain in the ass. They're not going to be quite Genoa a pain in the ass, but they're going to be giving people some trouble. Maybe like Spezia, especially when you don't count that, when you overlook them, they will give you a fight. Inter, obviously, we're ready for it. Despite the sandwich games of Juventus on the other side. I think Fiorentina are playing much better. If it's early in the season, I would say, they're going to be toast. But it's getting there. It's a slow improvement, sometimes painfully slow. But Fiorentina are starting to figure it out. And some of the older guys are really stepping up at this point. Yep.
All right, let's move on to the slate of games that took place on Sunday. Benevento hosting Sampdoria. And opening the scoring in the 55th minute was Gianluca Caprari after some very impressive individual work by Riccardo Improta. And then finding Barba, who found Caprari and finished. It's a goal of the week candidate. A lot of it because of the individual work from Improta that led to the goal. Some of the technique that was involved. Sampdoria would level the match on 80 minutes. Keita Balde played in by Damsgaard. Damsgaard's a guy we're going to have to continue keeping an eye on. What
a move! What a move on that freaking assist.
Yep.
My goodness.
Yep. He is really turned up. Milan and Crotone 4-0 to the Rossoneri. Zlatan getting club goal number 500. Brilliant 1-2 with Rafael Leao that beat not one, not two, but three Crotone defenders in one pass. Zlatan getting club goal number 500 there, making it a 0-0. Second goal in the 64th minute. Teo Hernandez, after some nice combination play with Rebic putting the ball across to a criminally unmarked Zlatan Ibrahimovic to make it 2 goals to 0. I got the 8 and 9-year-old boys that I coach defend better than Crotone. I'm just putting it out there right now.
Yeah.
Hakan Çalhanoğlu was back in our lives and took a corner in the 69th minute that was headed home by Rebic. And then just a minute later, Çalhanoğlu, another ball that Ante Rebic would bury home, and it was 4-0 to Rossoneri. Hakan changed the game, I would say, is absolutely right. I think it was we'll talk about that in a little bit. I think it was a Milan that was comfortable in that 1-0 lead and never was really threatened. But then when Hakan came on, it really amplified Milan's control of this game. Over the course of it, Milan had 11 shots on target in this game, so it could have been a heck of a lot worse. Yeah. Udinese 2, Hellas Verona 0, an own goal by Marco Silvestri by some excellent work from Gerard Deulofeu. Gerard Deulofeu would make his count in the 91st minute to put Hellas Verona away. Hellas Verona all of a sudden stumbling, 3 losses in their last 4. Big win for Friuli. The Derby dell'Emilia. I bet you guys didn't know that Parma Bologna was a derby. We did. Yeah. And it ended 3-0 for the visitors, for the Rosso Blu. Musa Barrow in the 15th minute on a beautiful cross. Yeah. On a set piece by Nicolas Sansone, goal of the week candidate there. Barrow would get his brace in the 33rd minute. It would be Parma having the possession from there on out. The chances were actually equal. Bologna looked really good on the break in this game and would get a 3rd goal in stoppage time in the second half. Riccardo Orsolini played in by Roberto Soriano, just a goal where Parma were just completely stretched. Yeah. 3-0 from Mihailovic's men. Roberto De Versa just really struggling to work the magic that he had done in his previous stint at Parma. Dare I say, having a hard time unfucking what Liverani fucked. So it's probably the best way to put it.
It's very hard to
we're going to have to mute that when the kids are listening. So
skip our whole podcast. What? Play them on a weekly podcast or something, or something else.
And then finally, Lazio 1, Cagliari 0. I stayed clear of Twitter during these 2 hours. I did not want the barrage of Gianni Mancini tweets gushing over Lazio, but it was Ciro Immobile from Milinkovic-Savic in the 61st minute. Had it not been for Alessio Cragno, Lazio would have won by a lot more. Cagliari a complete mess right now under Eusebio Di Francesco. Been an awful long time since they've won a game, Richard.
Yeah, no, it's been too long for them. It's criminally how bad they've how long it's been since they scored or won a game, really. But with Lazio, at least we'll start with that game. Again, as what we mentioned earlier, when we were comparing Arturo, is anything Immobile touches is gold. And he scores goals. He finds ways. Great play by SMS to win that ball, head it back towards the crowd, and brilliant first touch by Immobile to get it open and then get the goal in there. It wasn't a pretty goal by any stretch, but it was a goal. That's all that matters. That's all that matters to him. All that matters to Inzaghi. So they did enough. Cagliari continues to struggle, and it's going to be. Time is getting short here for Cagliari. They need to figure out quick, or Di Francesco's not going to be getting a job anytime soon, and people in Sardinia are going to be riding to see their team relegated. Nobody wants to see that. It's a team that needs to stay in Serie A, in my opinion.
There's at least 9 straight winless here, and my count, my thing. That's what's funny about this. It's not even going back that far. There's
if
1, 2, 3, 4.
Before Di Francesco, I'm going to be pissed.
What's that?
If Gattuso gets fired before Di Francesco, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, what a fall from grace from Di Francesco. And I was actually just watching the other day the highlights of when Roma came back and beat Barcelona.
Yeah.
That was only like 4 years ago.
Geez.
Yeah.
A big fall.
Talk about a fall.
Yeah.
So really frustrating. What else got your attention from these games?
Musa Barrow starting, scoring. We've been saying it all year long. He needs
play
to
guys
start.
that score in this league. What are these guys doing? It's like, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's just like, here we go again. Another guy. Play the guy scores and the guy creates goals and knows how to do it in this league. Play him, okay?
Yeah.
Simple
to me,
enough.
he's the best player on the team, and he needs to play more. Obviously, having 2 goals and not all created by him. He's got a beautiful assist in those games, but he started. Bologna found a way. They won the derby there, so well done to them. And yeah, the big thing for me, I mean, out of all this game, yeah, obviously, I'd love to see Milan win big. Is that Hellas is struggling mightily all of a sudden. They were pegged back by Roma, and they look almost normal at this time, and even worse. I mean, you lose to Udinese. Udinese are on the up, right? Yeah, for sure. But Hellas has just been struggling to score goals lately. They can't keep people out of their own net. They need to figure it out. I mean, this is maybe just a blip in the radar. You hope it is, at least for them, because it's so fun to watch them defensively. But yeah, I don't know. It's almost worrying. So if they could put up another performance like this, I'm going to be starting to get worried with Hellas, because it's very unlike. It's sort of like what we saw, I want to say, with Parma last year, where it started out so well at the beginning, and then the wheels started coming off. You kind of get that vibe right now, but it's still way too early to say that. But I mean, I don't like the consecutive losses, and last month has really been tough for Hellas.
It's to where the win over Napoli back on January 24th doesn't look that great all of a sudden. Yeah. When you consider Napoli's form at the moment.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, Lazio have won 6 straight now in the league.
Hot.
I mean, just scorching form. Starting to get it together. But again, this was finally a game where they monopolized possession and chances, and and got a 1-0 win. So this was a rare win for Lazio in the style that they won it. You've seen Lazio win a lot of games by capitalizing on the other team's mistakes, and being opportunistic. This was one where they controlled it, really had nothing to worry about, just needed to score the goal and get out of there, and they did.
And it's another game that Cragno stood on his head and made some big saves and kept the team. I mean, I wish George is on here, because every time we talk about Cragno doing well, he's not on the chat, so I don't know. But yeah, no, Lazio, they're playing really well at the moment, and it should be a big game against Inter to really see what happens in this game, because they have all the momentum in the world at the moment. And Immobile, he gets an opportunity. You got to like his chances to score against Inter.
Yep, definitely agree with you on that. We talked about Sassuolo in the previous set of games, also another team that's struggling and desperate for a win. But what if I told you that the next form team after Lazio was Genoa?
And Goran Pandev's the best player of the week, right? Yeah, I would have shot you on sight, right? That's crazy. But it's also not too hard to believe. Ballardini, once he came back, you knew that he was going to get them back to what he was comfortable with, which is making it difficult for people. But what we, I guess, didn't expect is to see that they're getting results. I mean, Destro is having the career of his life right now. He's got 8-9 goals. And Pandev is scoring. They're stopping people defensively. Perin is looking like his old self. So yeah, I mean, that's good for Genoa. I mean, it's good for both Genovese clubs are, well away from the relegation spot, which is so good to see, because both those Ligurian clubs do not belong in that discussion. And we love watching that derby in Serie A. So it's great to see Genoa playing so well at the moment. And yeah, who knows? I mean, they're going to make it hell for anybody they play against going down the stretch. You just know it.
13 points out of a possible 15 in their last 5 games, and have only conceded 1 goal in those 5 games. That was that Politano goal just this past weekend. Hot take: they will be in the top half of the table after match week 23.
Oh, okay.
They are at Torino.
Yeah.
On the 13th on Saturday, and then the following Saturday they host Hellas Verona.
Yeah.
I can very, very easily see them winning both of those games.
Yeah, I can too.
So watch out for Genoa. We knew once Ballardini was reappointed, we were one of the first ones to say it. This is going to be a pain in the ass team that nobody's going to want to play, and they're going to work their way out of the trouble that they're in, and they're going to work their way up, and they have certainly done that. Ballardini, if he can continue on this pace, another hot take, you're going to have to talk about him for manager of the season if they can continue at this clip. I don't think they can sustain this. I think this will eventually normalize, but he's clearly gotten them out of trouble, which was the purpose of Preziosi hiring him in the first place.
Yeah.
So, and then after that, we're looking at I mean, Cagliari is just, like I said, we talked about them. We talked about Parma and their struggles. Diversa was brought in to rescue the situation that Liverani's gotten them in, and it has not gone well for them. They did get a draw at Sassuolo that suddenly doesn't look all that great. But it has been an awful long time since they've won a game too.
Yeah. And before we wrap this week up, can we just say the kids are all right? The kids, they're so naive at the moment, and they're continuing to stay at the top of the table, finding ways to play well despite 87-year-old
Milan, yeah.
Zlatan and Chiara on the team. They're so naive that I don't think they know. And I think Uncle Sharma or someone posted a tweet saying that these guys are so naive that they don't know what they're doing at the moment, and they're doing it so well. You gotta like that kind of naivety at times like this, because they don't know what they're just playing and they're not thinking about anything. That's why you have Zlatan there to kind of take the reins, the tension away, and they're playing well above their expectations. And look at them; they're just continuing week in, week out. They're not slipping up. Obviously, having Zlatan with 14 goals this year or something crazy already, that's unreal.
In just 11, he's only played 11 Serie A games, 14 goals.
Jeez, man. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, it's just a wonderful. Obviously, we are fans, so we're going to gush over them. But I think the performance that they're doing is really great. Their depth is good. I love the pickups that they had in the wintertime. Like we talked with Miete. Tamori has been fantastic. I want them to splash the cash right now on him.
Yeah,
right?
Permanent. Just do it now.
God. Yeah, he's freaking awesome with Romagnoli. And so it's they're doing really well at the moment. Mandzukic hasn't scored yet, but it'll come.
He's wearing number 9.
There you go.
My expectations for him lowered immediately once he picked that number. He's like, all right,
why could he take 19 or something?
Yeah, I mean, if any goal he gets is playing with house money for Milan. So
yeah.
So anyway, all right. Well, how about we get on with the goals of the week?
Goals of the week, yeah. So I'll go with mine first. So my number 5 comes in. I was gonna say Belotti was gonna be in my top 5, but I'm not gonna give it to a guy who misses a penalty. So that was a nice goal overall, but I'm not going to put him in my top 5. Number 5 for me comes from the Sampdoria matchup. Damsgaard with a wonderful fake out of the defender, finds Keita Balde, who scores the goal. That's number 5 for me, more for the assist than the goal. Number 4 for me, Ante Rebic, his second goal, the side volley, wonderfully taken there, very technical. That's number 4. Number 3 for me, Zlatan, his 500th goal. The give and go with Leao was brilliant, and the finish was just beautiful. That's number 3. Number 2, 103-year-old Goran Pandev with his pirouette for his second goal. Wonderfully done. Wonderful footwork by Goran Pandev to get the second goal. Both goals taken well in that game, but that one was something to behold. And then number 1, Nicola Barella. What more can you say about this guy? A world-class player, one of the best midfielders in the world at the moment. Wonderful curling shot. I mean, you don't appreciate the curl on that shot until you see the replay. You're like, oh my goodness, look at that bend on the thing. So that's my top 5.
Yep. Top 5 for me, Barrow's first goal for Bologna. Beautiful ball in from Sansone. Hey, Michael. In at number 4, I'm going to go with Caprari's goal after the individual work from Improta, and I think that really is what led to it. And Caprari scoring from a narrow angle there, coming in at number 4 for me. Goran Pandev's second goal, the turn and finish there, coming in at number 3. Ibra getting goal number 500 on a beautiful 1-2 with Leao. Again, eliminating 3 defenders. That's number 2 for me. And then the Barella, number 1 goal of the week, and probably going to be in the conversation for goal of the season. One of the great strikes we've seen this year.
Real quick before we move on, Colin had a question here for the Milanisti in the group, and I'll chime in here. I'll say yes, I do feel Juve on the shoulders because I've seen the way they've been playing a lot better lately. So I see them coming. Inter's still the one I got my eyes on, but I feel Juve coming stronger and stronger week in and week out. I think Pirlo finally has figured it out with this team, so I see him for one thing. I don't know about the rest of the Milanisti in the room. You, Frank, do you feel Juve coming up on the back?
I felt them when they were in 10th.
You picked them for the title, right?
Yeah, because I picked them to win again. I said they would win the title by 8 to 10, anywhere from 8 to 10 points. I'm going to walk that one back. Yeah. But I've never counted Juve out, no matter what situation they were in. Never on this podcast. I said they are not done. They are not done. This is going to get turned around, and like I said it earlier in the podcast. I said they put together this run. They're not dominant when they do it. They don't blow anybody away. They don't wow you. They don't make you sit in awe of them. But all of a sudden you blink and they're 6 points clear at the top.
Yeah,
you know,
they're gonna make someone earn that title. If someone's gonna take it from them, someone's gonna earn it, whether it's Inter or Milan or maybe Roma, who knows? But they're gonna make someone earn it.
Yep. And Presidente agrees with me. Thinks Juve will win number 10 as well. So we're enjoying our time at the top as Milan fans. You know, we don't know if it's going to last the entire season and
leave us alone,
that sort of thing. But this is, you know, after what we've been through. I think Lisi and I had some conversations because, you know, we're talking about Chelsea loanees, and now we finally got a loanee that's coming from Chelsea that looks like he's going to stick, you know, and that sort of thing. And I had to remind Michael, I said, there's a lot of moments here over the last several years that I've tried to forget. So, you know, so forgive me if I forgot this guy or forgot that guy. So that was kind of a fun, you know, little conversation that we had there. So those were our goals of the week. Pretty cut and dry. It's pretty hard to debate the number one, the goal of the week. It was Nicola Barella's curler against Fiorentina. So on we go with the world's most famous hashtag game. Who won? Calcio Twitter. This is what the chat is really all here for.
That's what we're here for, right?
Yep. And that's what we're here for. All of it before that is just for us to just pass the time.
Yeah.
So let's get on with it. Richard,
I'll start
take it first.
I'll start it over. Sansone, it's at Napoli Sansone. He says, what is a random guy doing at the Higuain family reunion? And it's a video of a guy in this place I would never be in. Oh, look at all those snakes. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that's funny, but it's no thank you.
I would steer clear. I would definitely steer clear.
Yeah.
All right. I nominated this one at Nick Zamboni at Nick Zam, Z-A-M-B. Serie A as Star Wars characters. I'll start with an easy one. Federico Benedeschi as Jar Jar Binks.
That's good. That is good.
Lazio as the Stormtroopers. He did a whole thread. We've got Zlatan in a PSG jersey, mind you. Who's this character again?
That's the guy from the first one. No one really talks about anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
Conte as Han Solo.
No, that's Luke Skywalker.
Oh, Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Conte is Luke Skywalker. Is that Donna Agnelli?
The real Donna.
Nice. All right.
That's good.
We've got De Laurentiis. Oh. Fartmarelli popping up with Fartmarelli popping up with another one that's also a did you see do you have the one up there from Fartmarelli?
No,
Fartmarelli? No,
I don't.
His reply to
there it is.
Yeah. Mino Raiola.
I like the one with Paula. I like that one too.
Let's see. Stay on target. We've got who is that? Federico Fazio as Chewbacca.
Yeah.
So Lorenzo Insigne as a Wookiee.
Tonali obviously as Kylo Ren. That's obvious, right? We all knew that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't know if we need to do the rest of the entries. I think we know what's winning, but I think for posterity, we'll read the other ones.
You guys should check it out. Check this one out. It's a non.
We've got Platini made this list.
He did make the list.
Oh my goodness!
It goes on and on. Yeah, Kulusevski one is good.
you got Gattuso as whoever this is. Mondo Sportif LDN. In a reply, has got Gattuso as Darth Vader choking Joe Jordan. Oh wow, they had fun with this, but Nick Zam set the tone.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I think we know who won, but let's go on. Let's read the rest of them and see if anybody got within a sniff.
All right, this one comes from Kilpin at Kilpin Chronicle. So IFTV puts out a tweet, says Inter ain't the same without Big Rom, and they chime in and says, suppose they're like Shrek in a way, then not the same without Donkey.
Oh gosh.
Oh, too soon.
We are not letting that one go, are we?
Oh no.
Okay, at Sagar_Milanista. Why are Arsenal fans few? Bantering Inter and Milan fans. Inter and Milan are so clear of Arsenal. Arsenal's biggest game of the decade was the one they didn't even feature in. Yes, it was Spurs versus Liverpool, UCL final. Had Spurs won, curtains for Arsenal fans on football Twitter.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Oh my goodness. All right, so
next one. This one comes from Farinho_10. He goes, I lost my friend today. He's not dead. He's not dead. He just supports Inter. Michael Lisi says that's worse.
Yeah, that is worse. Farinho_10 with a second entry. We rarely have guys making it in with two entries, but Farinho_10 does it this time. Could Roma just stop being asked for one moment in their bonsai plant existence?
Oh man, yes. Okay, this one comes in from undercover_JM. He says that's impressive for Kane. 208 goals and no trophies. Yeah, too bad it's not it's a English tweet, but it's still funny that 208 goals and no trophies. Yeah, that's you think he plays for Roma? Maybe I'll just stop. I'll stop.
And Farinho doesn't want it to be all about him. He brought in That's What I Said Said saying Rebic runs like his legs disagree with his body. It's kind of true.
It is. I pictured it in my head. I'm like, oh my god, yes, it is. Frank with the shout here. Okay, so I'm not. So Gianni nominated this one. I'm not going to get this one because I didn't watch the Super Bowl. But he says, who did it better? And it's a picture of, I guess, The Weeknd, and I guess it's what's his name that died. I don't even know who this is. So, yeah.
Okay, that was good.
Is it a Totti?
Johnny says that has to win. I'm sorry. The Star Wars thing I think is already won, but we're gonna go through the other ones. At Chiesa di Totti, Roma looking for a new goalkeeper this summer. I think everybody has had fun with this weekend GIF from his halftime show.
Marshmello says Weston McKennie looking for his wallet tomorrow after Bastoni picks his pocket.
Let's see. At finally Godoing. Inter spending all their budget on this edit. Inter _ Super Bowl, yards or meters, American football or soccer, touchdown or goals, derby showdowns or the Super Bowl. It's what you do with your feet that count. And it was just a it was Inter players in football helmets and Milan players in football helmets. Yeah. And finally Godoing saying Inter spending all their budget on this edit.
Man. All right, this one comes from the Sportsman. Someone nominated them, of course, but this is why does John Travolta look like that he now manages Sampdoria and Serie A? I got the picture below. Look, respect Mr. Comisi.
Yeah,
Cosmi, excuse me.
Is that seriously Cosmi? Who does he manage now?
I don't even know anymore. I don't know.
I think he's managing a Serie B team, either Serie B or Serie C team. Not exactly sure, but I think he's still around. He still exists.
All right, that's all of them. Yeah, there you go. That's all of them. I mean,
yep.
We know the winner already, right? I mean,
it's hands down. It's at Nick Zamb, and I'll waste no time in retweeting this. But yeah, congratulations at Nick Zamb, hands down, winner of Who Won Calcio Twitter, and right now probably leader in the clubhouse for the 2021 Who Won Calcio Twitter Tweet of the Year. Yeah. Gotta give it up for Mr. Nick Zamboni on this one. Hands down. What are you doing? All right.
I don't know what you're doing now. While you're doing that, I'll answer Colin's question here. He goes, guys, what do you think of Dybala? Would you sell and do you rate? At this point, it doesn't seem like Juve has any interest in using Dybala. So I say, why are you going to keep him if you're not going to use him? So sell him. I still think he's a good player there. I think he still needs to get the pitch time. He just may be having a funk or whatever. But I mean, if you're Juventus and you're being obviously very successful at the moment, I would say sell him. I still rate him very much. I think he could be a good player. Is he going to get to that elite level where we thought we saw him a few years ago, especially when they went to the finals of Champions League? I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe it's just all in his head at the moment, but I think he has the opportunity to still do well for a team, hopefully in Serie A. But Dybala non si tocca. I got you, man. I hear you. He has to be Milan. I didn't say he can be, somewhere in Serie A. I like to see Palermo come back to Serie A and then he go back there, but that's me. Hopeless romantic.
Yep. Oh, it didn't take the whole thing. All right, I got to do this again. I'm with you on the Dybala. Dybala, I feel like if he moves on, I don't think he stays in Serie A. I think he's another guy that, man, would just blow up if he went to Spain. But it's whether or not he's going to do that. So, and it's whether or not he, how badly does he want to leave? I think is the other one that you got to consider. So,
because his TikTok is doing really well at the moment. So, I mean, why would you want to leave? You're sitting there doing videos.
Right. So we'll have to see. I rate him still. I think he still has something to give, but I think the system has to fit him. And I don't know if it really works right now at Juve, which is part of the problem. So, but we'll see. He's immense talent. Would love to see him stay in Serie A in sub capacity, but would you fancy him at Napoli? Not if Allegri's going there.
Not if Allegri's going there. But if Allegri keeps out, then I don't see why. It fits into the small person playmaker field, right? I wouldn't mind that at all. But yeah, it would be interesting to take. Yeah, if Allegri goes there, then no, because Allegri wouldn't play him. And I'm curious what Allegri could do with that Napoli squad. I mean, they're set up already for success. They just need to have a different change maybe at the top, and a healthy Osimhen would help. It's interesting take to have Dybala go to Napoli. I'd watch it.
If I had to go to Serie A teams where he would probably fit, and I would probably end up looking outside your traditional six. I was thinking Fiorentina. As part of Prandelli's reclamation, I think that would work. I think that. Sampdoria, if Ranieri's still there, it doesn't fit. Ranieri's a 4-2 guy that, where does Dybala fit in that system? I mean, Ranieri's already having a hard enough time fitting a guy like Gaston Ramirez. So how is he going to fit Dybala? Ferrero's crazy enough, though, that if he knew he had a shot at Dybala and could bring him Sampdoria, he would tell Ranieri, make it work. Yeah. I'm spending a lot of money to bring this guy in. After that, it's hard for me to really find anywhere else. I don't know if he has the power to be a playmaker in Gasparini's Atalanta. No. He's got the skill.
And I don't think it would work at Lazio either, I think, because they got SMS and Luis Alberto pulling the strings there. I think it would conflict, maybe in that case there. Because I think Lazio have a good thing going right now with what they have. So
yeah, so you're probably looking at some of these middle of the road Serie A teams that might be wanting to make that push. So it's a great question. Fascinating debate.
I just want Belotti not to be the only one doing all the work.
Well, yeah, fair enough. So, well, with that, I think we can put a bow on this edition of Serie A Sit Down. Richard, time for a shameless plug. What do you got?
Just follow us on YouTube. We're trying to get some more videos out here. It's been a heck of a month already. We're only 9 days in, so lots of snow here, lots of busy time for me. But follow the YouTube page. Give it if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe, leave comments. Absolutely, it'd be very much appreciated. And as always, you can follow me at _R_KHARMAN on social media in general.
Wonderful. You can find me at FTC_21 on Twitter or Instagram. Serie A Sit Down. We can be found on Apple Podcasts. We have our own channel there. We have it on SoundCloud. We have it on Stitcher, Spotify, anywhere. iHeartRadio as well. Anywhere you can find podcasts, you can find Serie A Sit Down. World Football Index. Go there for plenty of other topics, so we don't plug them enough, and they're so nice.
The World Football Index magazine just came out, so definitely check that out. It has good stuff in there, man. Good stuff.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. I'm in. So please do check them out. If you do, if the mood strikes you, worldfootballindex.com is the place to go there. Also, we are at Sit Down on Twitter, on Instagram. Any comments, questions, anything that's coming up on future podcasts, we're all ears. We'd love to know. Same with Facebook. We can be found there. And then also this YouTube channel. If this is the first time you're watching this video, you like what you saw, subscribe so that you can get notifications for when we go live in future podcasts, as well as other video clips that we will have down the road. So with all of that, chat, awesome. We had a great time, man.
Thank you guys.
Yep. And Jordan RP, welcome to our world. We're looking forward to many wonderful times here.
Cool and couch of Twitter to come.
Episode 178. We are just closing in on 200.
That's right.
200. Richard has tolerated me this long.
That's true. Good thing we're not in the same room, right?
Yeah, good thing we live in different time zones.
Yeah.
So anyway, enjoy the Atalanta-Napoli game on Wednesday. Great games coming up this weekend, which we touched on. Napoli and Juventus on Saturday, Inter and Lazio on Sunday. Enjoy those games. We'll be back talking about those next Tuesday. Champions League and Europa League are going to be back in our lives as well. So much to discuss next week. Until then, thanks as always for listening and checking us out. And make sure you tell your paisans about us. Ciao.
Make it bounce.